Good Monday morning, everyone. You're listening to Author Talk with me, Amy Russell. Dina is here today, and our lovely author guest today is Douglas. So, you guys, oh my goodness. One, I don't believe winter is coming back, at least not here in Texas. It was like almost 90 this weekend, and the pools aren't open. So, you're kind of just having to deal with it. But my weekend was fun, uneventful. My kids are getting ready for spring break, which hits me on Friday. So if I'm a hot mess next week, you guys know why. My kids are home for spring break. Okay, so we're gonna survive it, but it was uneventful. So what all did you guys do this weekend? Who wants to go first?
Go, Doug.
Oh, this weekend, I mean, it's a crazy story. I don't even know if we have time or you want to hear it, but
We do
my,
now.
you do now. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
my, oh God, this is great. My mother-in-law's mother had been in the hospital and in a rehab center for about 2 months. And she's fine. They were taking her home and they decided to save money and not get a transport. So they were going to take her home themselves. My mother-in-law was lifting grandma into the car and broke both of her arms.
Oh,
So now
wow.
mother-in-law is in the hospital and everybody's like, "Oh my, what?"
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's what I did this weekend. I got
That's
to
awful. Both of
is
her arms.
both
That's
arms
That's
broken
crazy.
and she's on it was a mess. So, then my wife and I went to the casino yesterday just to clear our brains and forget that it ever happened. And so, yeah, that was my weekend. What about you guys?
okay, Doug. Where are you?
I'm in Arizona. I am in Surprise, Arizona. No one is more
Oh.
surprised that I'm here, having lived in California most of my life. We came here during COVID because my wife's family's all here, and we kind of figured we'll shelter in place or whatever
Right.
together. And it's kind of just been why move back. LA has become a bit of a bummer in many ways. And so it's a better quality of living here. And so here we sit, and us writers can write anywhere. So, I have not gone back.
I understand.
Yeah. Where are you? You're in Texas, Russell.
Yes, I'm in Texas now.
Alrighty.
I've been in Georgia the last 3 years.
Okay. Okay. Good, good.
This weekend, my wife and I finalized our plans. The day after Thanksgiving, we're going to go fly to Paris and stay a few days, and then
Fun.
we're going to take a train over to Germany and do all the Christmas festivals.
Oh,
Mm,
that's going to be fun. I can't wait to see your
nice.
photos. That'll be exciting.
Excellent. Are you going to Baden-Baden?
I don't know. Part
Okay.
of what my wife does to escape thinking about work in the off hours is she
Right.
plans and replans and deplans our trips. And they're wonderful trips, but that's
Nice.
how she escapes thinking
Excellent.
about work.
Hmm.
So you should not ask me till the week before we
Okay.
leave.
I will. I'll
True.
make sure I do. I'll send you a note.
Okay.
I love it. Dina, what did you do this weekend? I know you had so much fun in what you did.
I did my taxes. I did my
Yay!
taxes. It took me a lot less time than I was planning on. And so then just for giggles, I did my daughter's taxes because she now has
Because you're awesome, Dina. That's
Yeah.
what's
Wow. That's a
awesome.
mom. That's a mom.
she
Yeah.
has a contract labor job where she does some Facebook stuff, and
Yeah.
she hates Facebook, but she's helping out Amy. And so
Mhm.
we did hers and found out she has to pay $200.
Oh,
At least you did it for
Lord.
it. That was awesome.
Yeah, at
Wow.
least they got done
And
for her.
she's like,
Okay.
Wow.
"Yeah, Mom, I don't have 200." And I was like, "Okay, I'll cover it, but you're paying me back."
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that yeah,
Installments.
I've
Put her on
heard
the
that
installment plan.
exactly. You're never gonna
Oh,
see
she's
that.
she's good about paying me back.
Oh, that's
She is
good.
Oh,
good because I have taught her well.
Yeah,
That's
you
okay.
good.
have.
That's good. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
we need to thank
So,
our listeners. We're top 10% on some podcast channels
Wow.
for independent authors. We're top 1% on Good Pods channels. So we very much thank our listeners. Douglas, most people don't listen to us live. Most people listen to us on the podcast channels during the week.
Mm.
And we're very humbled about it. We've been around for 10 years. It's now easy to find us. Amy, where can people find us?
Yeah, so you guys, when Russell says it's easy to find us, it is easy to find us because I know he can find us, which makes it incredibly easy. So you guys, you can find us over on Amazon Music, Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, anywhere that you can search for a podcast. Type in Author Talk and look for the crimson, red, and gold logo that Dina actually created for us. You can hear all of our shows from where we started to today's show. If you want to watch them and engage with us, I tend to be very animated and control what comes out of my mouth, but my facial expressions, not so much. Dina lays it all on the table, and Valerie's very animated with her hands, and Russell's very stoic. So,
Dina lays it down on the table and doesn't give a damn whether you like it or not. That's the
doesn't,
best thing about Dina.
It's why
That's a
we
compliment,
love for Dina to be here. Dina's not a morning
But
person.
I only do that with y'all. I don't do that on the air.
It's just because she's not a morning
We'll
person.
see about that.
Yeah.
But you guys can go over to our YouTube channel, our Facebook group, any one of our social media channels are public. You can engage with us, ask questions. We love asking or answering your questions, engaging with you guys live in time. So you can go over there and do that. But like Russell said, we have been doing this for 10 years. It's crazy to say that, but it's been so much fun. This year is the crazy 10 years. So we've been doing Author Talk for 10 years. I've been married for 10 years.
Wow.
So it's a crazy just 10-year anniversary all year is how I'm going to say it. But
Congratulations all around.
Oh, yeah, we absolutely love it. And so we want to learn more about you, Doug. So Dina, let's get Doug talking about all that he has to offer.
Wow.
Okay, so now I know because Amy asked me that Valerie wasn't going to be here, and she goes, "So, do you want to interview a Grammy winner or an award-winning? What was it for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers?"
Well,
it's like I can't pass that up because
yeah.
my son was like all about Mighty Morphin Power Rangers for like 4 years. What was it like going from that environment to actually being a storyteller?
Well, Power Rangers is an interesting thing because, you know, the show was created by a guy named Haim Saban, who was and the way it happened was, just brief history, he was in Japan and saw this TV show in his hotel room called Super Sentai, which was a Japanese live action TV show about superheroes, and he thought that that could be a huge hit in the United States. But they didn't want to dub the show, so what they ended up doing was they took all the battle scenes that are in that show, and then they shot with American kids and cobbled it all together to make the actual show Power Rangers. And, you know, when I first started, you know, it was my first job, basically. I was 30, I think, or 31 years old, and it was the first job I'd ever really had steadily as a writer. You know, when I was a little kid, you know, in 4th grade, there was 2 of us in our class who everyone said was going to grow up to be professional writers. It was me, and it was a guy named Aaron Sorkin, who, as we all know, went on to become a professional writer as well. So it just sort of always was what I was going to do. And I did it for, you know, I did it for 3 years for Saban and then another 2 years for Disney. But after that, it kind of became where I was doing a lot of movies for Disney, which were much different. And a lot of, I did a series for DreamWorks for 8 years. And that's when it really got into the really stuff I was super, super proud of. Not that I'm not proud of Power Rangers, because at the time it was, you know, it was
everywhere.
Yeah, it was the zeitgeist, as they say. It was, and I was, you know, nobody knew that it was going. Nobody knew, obviously, until the day that they did a live show at Universal Studios, and they had planned to just have the 6 kids, the Power Rangers, go there and talk to any fans, kids who wanted to see them or talk to them. And they put them in a tiny theater, and they figured, you know, if couple hundred kids come by, that'll be great. But what happened was they backed up the 101 freeway, which is the one that leads into Universal Studios, for 10 miles. You know, tens and hundreds of thousands of kids wanted to go see the Power Rangers, and that was sort of the point where we knew, okay, this is going to be something. Yeah, absolutely.
And that was because I remember my son. I mean, everything. Well, Amy probably too, because her and my son are the same age.
Yeah.
So, but everything.
And it's been going for 30 years. It just ended its original run of programming. But, you know, I started with it in 1995 or 4, and it just stopped 2-3 years ago. And so it's what they call an evergreen property, which Chaim actually said to me, and he's got this very thick Egyptian Israeli accent. He says, "Doug, I'm going to tell you something right now. Power Rangers is going to be an evergreen. It'll be around forever." And I thought he was insane. But, yeah, he was right. You know, who knew? But yeah, so you guys and everyone's kids get a different Power Rangers because they change the characters every year. They change the stories every year. So, you know, I went back to do it at Disney because I had done a couple of movies at Disney. Disney Channel, Johnny Tsunami and Motocrossed. I had done these 2 movies, and yeah, I'm sure your kids might have seen those. I don't know.
I knew those.
Yeah,
yes.
You knew those, of course. Yeah. I mean, back then, you know, when I left Power Rangers, I started working for Disney, and I did Johnny Tsunami, Motocross, Princess Protection Program, Dad Napped, all these. I probably did 20 movies or something for them. And so after that, then I went on to do my other thing. And then once that was done, everybody used to ask me what was it like to work on Power Rangers, and I would tell these stories, and they would just fall off their chairs laughing. And so I figured, man, this could be a book. This could definitely be a book. So I started to write the book, and I got through my years at Saban, and it was 412 pages. And I didn't even get to the years I did it at Disney. So that's why there's a book 2 coming out with the years at Disney where it was in New Zealand, which is even almost as insane as the Saban years. But, you know.
Well, that's cool. So, what lessons did you learn from writing for a children's audience to bring into your storytelling?
Well,
now.
Yeah. I mean, look, my feeling has always been that children, they don't want to listen to childlike dialogue. They don't want to hear kids, they're aspirational viewers. In other words, they want to see the kids that are 2 or 3 or 4 years older than them. So what I always did when I wrote my kids' dialogue was actually for teens. I wrote just how I would want to hear it, because I kind of am a young at heart person. I used to race motorcycles in my 40s, which was stupid. We won't even get into that. I mean, I was like,
we're going to get into that.
Yeah, I was like, dude, yo, what's up, dude? Yeah, dude. And so I was able to write characters that, I would just write them how I'd want to hear them. And for some reason, that resonated with the audiences. And I just think you got to write. You can't write down to kids. You can't write what you think kids would want to listen to. You just have to write, to tell the story, and write the dialogue as you would want to say it. And kids respect that because they know that they're not getting, talked to like little kids, and they love that. And then
dialogue is important. It doesn't matter the age of your audience.
Nope. Dialogue is it. I mean, whenever my sort of thing in the business for many years, or still is that I write authentic dialogue. And so whenever there's a project that needs someone to come in and polish the dialogue for a teen or a show or a family movie or something, I'll sometimes get a call, and it's the greatest job in the world because the story's already told. All you got to do is go in and make the characters feel real and feel consistent. It's for me the best part of it. I hate outlining and all that garbage that you have to do. It's just like, oh my God, I can't stand it. But once the outline's done and it's approved, then the dialogue is the fun part. I mean, even when I was doing dragons for DreamWorks, we'd come up with the outlines, and that would be the battle that you'd fight with the boss. And then once that was set, it was like smooth sailing.
Well, let me ask you: was there anything when you were writing Morphers, Monsters, and Mayhem? Was there anything that you hesitated to include because you thought it was too honest?
God, there was a lot of stuff. Because several things. I did hide the names or change the names of a couple of the people that were involved with the show back then, who were the ones who, for lack of a better word, screwed me and my partner over. And I didn't want to give out their names just because, I'm sure they have their own version of it. And if they want, in my book, I say, if you don't like how you were portrayed in this book, then by all means, counter that in your own book, which none of them will ever do, of course. But I did change some of the names because of some of the crap they did. And then I didn't, Chaim Saban is I don't know if you guys know anything about him, but he's a multi-billionaire. He started in cartoon music with his partner Shuki Levy, and they built an empire. And he's a bloody genius, but he's also can be foul-mouthed and misogynistic and say some stuff that you just can't even possibly imagine. And a lot of that stuff got left out of the book just because it was so, it was like, and it was just situational stuff back in the 90s when you could say stuff like that, and people didn't go to HR, and it was Chaim's company. He's like, oh, you don't like it? Fuck off. I'm sorry. You don't like it? Get out of here. Go away. It's my company.
See, that's what I say quite a bit.
Yeah,
I do
absolutely. You don't like it? See you later. Bye-bye. We had but he's also very, he's just, the one thing is he's very, very smart. He's probably one of the smartest humans I've ever met in my life. He's brilliant. But he's just doesn't give a crap about what anybody thinks. And it's hysterical. There was a time, where we went for a meeting at his house, and he excused himself to the ante-bathroom from his office and started using the restroom and said, go on, I can hear you. Keep going, keep talking. And there were 3 women in the room, by the way. So,
He did the LBJ on you.
yeah, it was bizarre. It was like, and that was one of my first meetings with him. And I was like, oh, all right, well, he doesn't give a shit.
See, I was going to say Churchill, because Churchill would take a bath.
Yeah, doesn't care a lick. And never came back to bite him, as far as I know. He pretty much, and he also was a huge supporter of the Democratic Party. He helped get get Bill Clinton elected. He helped get Obama elected. He's like, when you see them coming to California, like Obama's and them, to go to someone's house, a big supporter's house, it's usually one of 2 people, Chaim Saban or Jeffrey Katzenberg. It's one of those two people. So he's got power beyond the reach of Hollywood. And, there you go.
Yeah. So, well,
I think Russell has a question because he's like chomping at the bit.
Okay, Russell, let's hear it.
Okay, I want to hear more about any particular part of when you get hired to go in and clean up dialogue and write it in one of these shows. What's tell us more about that. That sounds like a really interesting little thing that you do now. That's probably a lot of fun. Tell us be more detailed about it.
Absolutely. To me, there's three things in that have to happen in a family show. You have to have action, heart, and comedy. Those three elements have to be in a kids' family show to make it work. And I always, in my stuff, I always tried to have that in there. And my partner at Dragons, Art Brown, was also like, we got to have action, heart, comedy, action, heart, comedy. So if I read a script and there's no funny in it, then obviously that's the first place you start. You try to create some funny lines and some funny little situations. And the other thing is the action is usually there, but the heart, that's tough because you want to create moments between like a mother and a son or a father and a son or whatever that resonate and make you feel something, but you also can't take it too far where it becomes corny and kids are like, oh God, or gross or whatever. But I just try to go through each character, and I just actually did this with a script 2 weeks ago. I was given a script that had been written, and they all kind of sounded the same. All the characters were sounding the same. They weren't, and the problem was when I looked back on it was that they hadn't really established who these people were in any detail. And the first thing you have to do, or what I do when I start a project, is I say, okay, here are my characters. There's so-and-so, let's call him Zach, and he is a dirt bike rider. He doesn't do as well in school. He's got a single mom. He's a little bit out of control, but he's smarter than and write as many things as I can about him. And then I move on to the next one. And so when you go back to write the show, you have all these characters very well described, and then how they interact with one another is kind of predestined based on who they are. If Zach's best friend is a girl named Tracy, let's say, and Tracy's super smart, gets straight A's, has plans to go to college and this and that and the other thing. So her and Zach are gonna, clash on, dude, you never do anything. You just go out and ride your dirt bike, and that's, what's that gonna get you? And Zach, I'm gonna be a pro. I'm gonna be a pro dirt bike. And she's like, 99% of the dirt bike riders out there never make it. And so it's gonna go on like that. And it just makes it very. I don't know why everybody doesn't do it, but they don't. Everybody thinks that they can write a brilliant script. It's like I always, there's things that everybody in the world thinks they can do better than the people who are doing it, and script writing is one of them. So what you get is scripts that aren't better than everyone, and they get sent to the people who are better than everyone to fix them. And that's sort of what that's like. It can be frustrating. Because sometimes the executives are married. They like the script for certain reasons, and when you change it, it's a shock, and they're like, what? But you gotta just give them what you can, and hopefully they'll take what you give them.
So I met all the original Power Ranger actors at a
Really?
party right after you guys discovered, oh my gosh, right after it exploded at a
Wow.
party in Washington, D.C.
Wow.
They did not realize that there would be new actors every year at that time. They thought they were at the top of the world. That's probably true every year. Uh, but I do have a question. So, in the script that you got 2 weeks ago,
Mm-hmm.
how did the original writers that wrote the script before it was sent to you to fix? How did you interact with them? What was that like?
I
And what is
never
it usually like?
I never met them, never talked to them, never saw them. That's the one of the dirty little secrets of Hollywood is that, and it's happened to me, is that the original writer, because the studio executives can't figure out how to solve the problem, because studio executives and TV executives they're not creative people really. They're managerial people. They handle their departments and this and that and get the scripts through, but they're not people who can solve creative problems. So what'll happen is the original writer will write the script, and he will do 3 or 4 drafts of it, and then they decide whether they're going to repay him to write 3 more drafts or whatever on a new contract, or whether they're going to hire another writer. And 9 times out of 10, they hire another writer, someone they know who's close to them. And these 2 writers never talk. It's basically the only time you ever talk is, can you send me the final draft file? It's, not the question you want to hear. But I mean, here's a perfect example of that. When I wrote, Johnny Tsunami was a huge, huge hit. And it was one of the reasons the Disney Channel even existed. But, it launched the Disney Channel in a lot of ways. And it came time to do a sequel. And so my partner Ann and I wrote the sequel for Johnny Tsunami and handed it in. And then we went off to do Power Rangers for them in New Zealand. And I found out that they had hired someone else to rewrite our draft of the sequel. And I got upset, and I wrote an email I shouldn't have written, but I did. And to the head of the Disney Channel, I said, "What are you doing? What possible reason?" And I had heard that they wanted to give it a new voice. And so I wrote and I said, "What do you give it a new voice? It's a freaking sequel. I mean, it's the same people. What kind of voice do you want to give it?" And it drove me insane. And but then what ended up happening was, when it came time to produce the movie, they hired me to go to New Zealand to executive produce it, and I rewrote the entire script while I was there and put a lot of the old stuff back in.
So, Douglas, why did they hire you to be the executive producer? Did the guy that got new writers to write it the first time, did that guy get fired and someone else got in control, so then they sent you back?
Well,
Is that
here's
what happened?
No, what happened was I had done 2 shows in New Zealand, so I was very familiar with New Zealand. They were going to shoot the show, Johnny Tsunami sequel, called Johnny Kapahala Back on Board, in New Zealand, because they didn't want to go to Hawaii and pay all the unions and all that there. So they went to New Zealand, and they knew that I knew how to shoot in New Zealand. I knew how to get surf footage. I knew all that stuff. So they said, "Okay, you're going to be the executive producer." And they handed me the script of these 2 people who had rewritten it. And I read the script and I was like, "Oh, this is a mess, you guys." And the head of the department, who was a brilliant, brilliant man, said to me, "Well, rewrite it, do what you got to do." And so on the ground in New Zealand, I rewrote it again. And so, and the funny thing is that in the end, we won the Humanitas Prize, which is a prestigious award for scripts that contribute to society and give lessons and stuff like that. We ended up winning that award, and all 4 of us won it, and it was hilarious. But that's sort of how it just happened. I took it upon myself to rewrite the script at no charge, by the way. In New Zealand, because I wanted it to be a good movie. It wasn't reading as a good movie.
Okay, I have 2 more questions that I have to ask. Then I'm going back to you, Dean.
Go, buddy, go.
Okay, number 1, what is this motorcycle racing you did in your 40s? And did you ride dirt bikes in New Zealand while you were there?
Oh my God,
then I'll
those
leave
are
it alone.
Great questions. When I did Johnny Tsunami. Johnny Tsunami was a hit, and they wanted us to pitch another movie. So my best friend at the time was a guy named David M. Barrett, who went on to be the directing producer on Blue Bloods. But his family, the McCoys, started a place called Mammoth Mountain Ski Area, which I don't know if you've ever heard of. It's a huge ski area out in California.
Yes, it's the greatest place in the world, because you can ski there and then surf in the afternoon in California.
Yep. But David said, we ought to do a motocross movie, man. We got to do a motocross movie. So I was a huge dirt bike fan when I was a kid, but my parents would never let me ride dirt bikes. They wouldn't buy a dirt bike, obviously. So here I am at age 38 or something, and I've got some money, dangerous, and I've got my friend David saying, "Well, look, man, if you're going to write a motocross movie, you better get on a bike and learn what it's all about." Big mistake. I bought myself a dirt bike. I bought myself a truck, and I started riding. And it's dirt. Motocross is one of the most physically demanding sports there are, without any question. Duke University did a study, and it's the number two most physically demanding sport behind soccer. So for a 40-year-old guy to get on a dirt bike, you're going to crash probably a lot before you get any good at it. And that's sort of what happened with me is I ended up crashing and breaking a lot of bones. And I've had 3 back surgeries. I've broken my collarbone, my hand, my foot, my tibial plateau fracture was awesome. I've literally don't have a side that hasn't been broken. But it's the best feeling in the world riding a dirt bike and jumping a 70-foot jump for the first time. There's nothing like it. It's the best. And then when I went to New Zealand, good question, I decided in the first season of the Power Rangers we did in New Zealand that these guys were going to be into action sports. So one of them obviously was a motocrosser. And I had been riding for a while at the time, and we got all these bikes, and I took one of them. The stunt guy said, "Hey man, let's go riding this weekend. You want to go out riding?" So I'm like, "Well, I don't have a bike, dude." And he goes, "Oh, we'll just grab one from the ones we use on the show." And I was thinking, man, that could lead to trouble because what if I scratch it up? Well, he goes, "Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it." So of course we went out riding, and we were just going crazy on the weekend. Best time I ever had. And then on Monday, the producer said, "Hey, there's scratches on one of the bikes. What do you know about that?" And that was my New Zealand riding story. But I actually became a much better rider for riding in New Zealand because it's all trails and sand and forests and stuff like that. So it was phenomenal.
Okay, Dina, I'll give it back to you. I could not control myself about the dirt bike question.
I hope that was a competent answer.
Okay, I got to tell you, when Amy first said, and I went and looked you up, and I love your cover for the Siren Chronicles.
Your covers.
Oh, God! Thank you so much. Here's something funny: is that was it was a painting I had found online of a girl in Ireland who had painted this thing, and I was like, I had tried to create a bunch of different covers and I couldn't come up with anything. And then I found this one, and I said to my sister, who's also an author, and writes mysteries. She writes, what are they called? Cozy, comfy mysteries or something?
Yeah, with cartoon covers?
Yeah. No, she's, they're pretty realistic, but she's brilliant, and she helps me with all my books. She helped me with this book. And she said, well, just call the girl or email her and say you want to, buy the rights to her thing for your book. And I was like, okay. And I did. And she was like, yeah, sure. I gave her a couple $100, literally. And she let me use those on my cover. And then I had another person come in and create the graphics over it. But yeah, that was a beautiful.
It's just a beautiful image.
I know. It's so
Can we
gorgeous.
see it?
Yeah,
Will
I wish
someone
you
show
could.
it?
I don't have a copy of it.
Amy, you want to share your screen?
Yeah, let me go grab it.
But here's another funny cover story if you want to hear that real quick. The cover for the new book I had originally created using the dreaded AI, and I posted it on one of the Power Rangers fan sites and literally was eviscerated by the fans for using AI because it's taking away the jobs of artists and this and that and the other thing. And truly, I had not created this to be the final cover. I had just created it as, hey, I got a book coming out. Here's what it's going to be. And I had always intended to get an artist to create the cover, and these guys weren't having it. So I think, eventually I did get a great artist from Colombia or somewhere in South America to do the cover, and thank God. because that would not have gone over well. Oh yeah, there it is. God, that is. She really did paint a beautiful.
It's just a
painting.
beautiful
Yeah.
cover.
Too bad the book didn't do that well, but what are you gonna do?
It's a nice cover, though. It's a
It's a
beautiful
nice cover. I should have made a picture book, but it was my first. That was my first attempt, and it, when your first book. This was 15 years ago, I think, or something like that. When you write your first book, and it was based on a TV show that we had developed that never got picked up, and I figured maybe I'll write these books and it'll help. And it was like the first book just didn't. That's a tough space. That sort of young adult fantasy space is just, it's brutal. You guys know. I mean, getting any traction there if you're not with a big publishing house or something is difficult. But I'm glad I did it. I mean, it was fun, and it was enjoyable. But I think these books, I'm working on book 2 now of the Monsters, Morphers, and Mayhem, and there will be a third book about my years at DreamWorks, which I haven't come up with a title yet, but it will have death in the title somewhere. But that was a mind fuck, if you know what I mean. But yeah, that was about the craziest it ever got. But this book is funny, at least. I mean, this book is pretty funny. The audio book I read, and I'm just a big dumb goofball anyway. So the audiobook is a great way to consume this book if you're so inclined.
So how did
audio.
you convince yourself to do your own audiobook?
Oh,
And
God.
why would you do such a thing? And
Russell,
why are you so foolish?
Russell, I can't even tell you. I tried to do it with AI. I did a voice training thing on 11, that AI platform, and I was basically doing the whole thing in AI, and then I was listening back to it, and the problem was that all of the names the AI couldn't get. Like Chaim Saban was Chaim Saban, or Shuki Levy was Shuki Levy, or every name was pronounced differently on every page. And although it sounded a little bit like me, it was like, no, this is not going to go over well. So my sister said to me, she goes, dude, you got to just do it, man. Just sit down, suck it up, and do it.
So your sister hates you, I guess.
Yeah, she pretty much does. But she was right. And it was a monumental pain because it's a 412-page book. And although I do have a musical background, as you can see, and I have my own recording studio and all that, it still takes it's an 11-hour audiobook. So you figure it takes 4 or 5 times that amount of time to do it, edit it, not mix it, but master it and deliver it. And it is, oh man. And I'm probably going to end up doing it again for the second book because I'm that stupid. And
Plus, you have to now because you did the first one.
I know. I can't get
You're
out of it.
screwed. You have to.
I'm completely 100% screwed. But I do know that this time I'm just going to record the files and I'm going to send them off to somebody, and they're going to put them up on ACX, and they're going to master it, and they're going to do all that stuff, because that was literally every time you upload a chapter, it tells you whether it's within their limits of how loud, how soft, and this and that. And so you have to go back and redo it over and over again. And it just like, no, I'm not doing that next time. I'm going to just read it. Here you go. Enjoy. And so, yeah, you are correct in that. That was a monumental, misstep. Not misstep because it came out good, but it was definitely a pain in the butt.
I believe that.
If someone wants a career in storytelling now versus the 90s, should they aim for books, film, TV, all the above?
It's a really, really good question. I mean, if you are now, just now getting into wanting to be a storyteller, television is a huge, huge platform because there's so many shows. I mean, there are so many shows on TV that if you're a decent writer and you are, you're able to tell stories in the grown-up space, there's a million shows out there. And if you write a good spec script, which is what everybody does to get a job, they write a script of an existing show and get it to somebody, then that's a great way to, probably the best way to break in. Movies are pretty much impossible. They don't make enough movies anymore. They don't make independent movies really anymore. I mean, a low budget movie now is $20 million. And they really don't even make those much. What they make is $200 million tentpole movies that, they can make $1 billion on. So writing a movie is tough, although TV channels buy them, Netflix buys them and stuff like that. And, but, and then as far as being an author, if that's your thing, it's a tough road too, because, my book has, sort of an intellectual property attached to it that draws, readers to it. But if you don't have that, trying to find a publisher, or it's got to be Twilight, it's got to be brilliant in order to get a publisher on board. I mean, I have a good friend, John Lindstrom, who is a soap actor, and he writes these mystery books, Hollywood something, or I can't remember the names of them, but they're actually really good. And you should have him on. He's fantastic. But his John Lindstrom, and he's on that soap that Tyler Perry produces. But he, for him, he wrote these books, and it was a Hollywood Hustle. That was his first one. But it was tough for him too. I mean, it's really, really hard to get the generally accepted method of publishing to take on your book. And so we just said, we're going to go independent. But if you want to get into writing now, find a TV show you love and write a spec script, come up with a story for it, write a spec script, and try to get it to an agent somewhere. There's a list of agents on the WGA website, and just send it to them or call them or whatever. I mean, it's literally, it's a crapshoot. But what I have always said is that if you write a great script, you could leave it on every bus bench in LA, and eventually someone would find it and you would get jobs, because there just aren't that many great scripts out there. It's really, really difficult. So that's what I would do if I were starting over.
Excellent. That's great advice.
I like it because it's, I don't know. Okay. So Doug, I market books. I haven't written a book. Dina and Russell have written books. Dina does a bunch of interior design work and stuff,
nice.
and book covers and those kinds of things. But I work a lot with indie authors. And so I just tell them too, I'm like, what's the worst thing people are going to do? Tell you no or not respond to your email? Okay, well, then you move on to the next one. So it's comforting. If you could go back, you would do the same thing. Just send it to everyone.
Yeah, you have to. You have to. I mean, you can't. Eventually, if your book or script or whatever is a quality piece of work, you'll know.
Yeah.
Don't you think that you will know very quickly what people think of your book? If you look on Amazon at this book, The Morpher's whatever, the ratings are all great. Everybody loves this book. It's the best book they ever read. Bah, 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 bah. And even then, there's only 25 reviews or something. So, I still got a ways to go. But that's a huge thing, as you know, is getting those Amazon reviews, those 5-star reviews or 4-star reviews. Sirens, unfortunately, I had a few or enough of people that were negative about it that it killed it, which is a bummer. But it is what it is. I mean, I don't know if I'll ever write another fiction book, but that's the thing, Amy. It's like you gotta people have to start talking about it and loving it, and
Yeah.
then somehow, somewhere, this little tiny, thing turns into a fire, and it catches fire and takes off. It's just, that's what my sister and I are trying to do with my book. Is just, figure out every way we possibly can to get this book out there, and not even, it's just a matter of hitting the Power Ranger audience.
Yeah.
Even that, there's millions of Power Ranger fans out there, but unfortunately now, Facebook ads for some reason will not allow you to target Power Ranger fans specifically.
Yeah.
So you can't create an ad aimed at Power Ranger fans when you got a book about the flipping Power Rangers. And my sister was like, because she had been doing this forever with her books, and she says, "Dude, I have some bad news. You're not going to believe this. Effing Facebook, man. Oh my God." And so we've now, had to sort of shift, and we've tried a bunch of other stuff, and we're trying a bunch more stuff, and just trying to figure out ways to let the fans know that the book exists, because every fan who's read it really likes it. So,
Yeah. Reviews are going to help you. Once you get over your 55 reviews, Amazon will start
Is that
promoting
what it
it.
is? 55?
Yeah, Amazon will start promoting it and stuff for you. So you're on your way.
We're on our way. We started with a Kickstarter campaign that had 250 people.
Yeah.
So, if I could get those people to just review the book, but it's hard. It's hard to get someone to go on there and I tell them, just put 5 stars or 4 stars or whatever. You don't have to write anything about it at all.
Yeah. Reviews are hard. I totally understand. They're difficult. 100%. But Doug, man, I want to thank you for coming and hanging out with us today and talking to us, and just this has been such a fun conversation. So thanks for taking time out of your day to come and hang out with us.
And you guys are awesome. Awesome. I'm so glad to meet each and every one of you, and I hope we can do it again when book 2 comes out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You are welcome back anytime.
Oh, that's
I wish
awesome.
we could do a whole show just on spec scripts and so you could expand on that. That's
dude.
a whole show. That's a whole show.
I could, anytime you want, I can do that for you, because I have done copious amounts of spec scripts. I have a lot of stories that are just insane.
Russell's gonna hit you up.
Please
He
do.
will. He will.
I will not, but I do want.
He'll have Amy do it. That's
I
what'll
just
happen.
I just think that's right. But I do think that there's a lot of people that would love to hear more about that. We have a lot of writers and wannabe writers listen to us, and I think they would love to hear about your experience and your thoughts about that even more.
Absolutely. Anytime. You know where to find me. I'm in.
Yeah,
Surprise,
there are
Arizona.
definitely a lot of people who want to, follow the formula, so to speak, to get their book and make it into a screenplay.
Yeah. I mean,
It's not quite as easy as you think it is.
Oh my God. And you will not be allowed to write your book as a screenplay. Even if my very good friend, or my friend Lev Spyro, is a director, and his wife is a woman named Melissa Rosenberg, and she wrote all the Twilight movies. She wrote the scripts for all the Twilight movies, and the woman who wrote the books never even, she was not involved, and that's the biggest selling book ever.
You're so attached to them. You're so attached to them. You don't want to cut anything so that it's going to fit in that 2 hours.
Yeah. Well, Doug, we'll have to have you back so we can talk more about it, because it is a hot topic. So we will have to have you back for sure.
Awesome. This was really fun, you guys. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate it. And can I just show my book cover?
Yeah, go for it.
Here it is.
Nice.
The Morphers, Monsters, and Mayhem, everybody. And pick your copy up on Amazon. And leave a review, for crap's sake. All right.
I love it. Well, you guys have a fantastic Monday, a great rest of your week. And until next Monday, bye for now, everybody.